I hated using the library computers, but my hard drive crashed. My roommate was out of town with his laptop, and I was in a jam needing to get an assignment printed for a morning class. I was normally pretty good with them, but was having a formatting issue and couldn't find the right menu option to turn it off and change it back to what I wanted. God, this was frustrating. This cute little thing next to me asked if I needed help. Of course I did, but I wouldn't admit it. Typical male. So she let me stew for a minute, then told me to listen to her. Look, I know very little about life, but I know computers and I know Office. What is the problem? You obviously need to get this done and need to change or fix something. Oh my God, your bullets and indents are fighting each other. Let me help. She moved in close, the scent of lavender or something similar wafted around me, really nice. It filled my nose. I just moved over, but not far enough to lose the scent and let her take control. She did. Thin figure, long dark hair with a reddish tint, navy blue slacks with matching high heels, and a plain white long-sleeved button-up blouse. She could have been a real estate agent, a secretary, or a rocket scientist, a generic pretty girl. Really pretty. Are you my library fairy? Lydia Preston. You might say that. I'm happy to help. I am here a lot. I don't have my own equipment, but I used to, and... Never mind. I like computers. You look like you normally use a different one. Is there a story there? Chuck. And yeah, hard drive crashed this afternoon. Haven't even had time to get it to the shop. Want help with it? I could use the money and I know a thing or two about it. Maybe I can help you save some information on your old one. Is it a desktop or a laptop? It's a desktop. You really know that stuff? Maybe. It depends, but I'd like to try. You could pay me, maybe. Lydia, I'll give you $100 if you can get it running tonight and more if you can save some stuff I have on it. Her smile could have blinded me. Money I had. Time I didn't. I get off in about 15 minutes. Let me fix your document and save it. We'll get you printed out and then take care of your desktop issue. Walmart is still open. Take me there. We'll buy you a hard drive and see what we can do. You'll need a hard drive one way or the other, and I can show you how to do backups so you don't have this happen again. But then, as soon as you start the backups, you'll never have a crash. Insurance, you know. As long as you have insurance, no accident. Let it lapse, and a telephone pole jumps in front of you. I could tell she was nervous and laughing at her own joke. I took her to Walmart where she picked up a couple of hard drives and an external hard drive reader she asked me for. She said it would help. Lydia, is that the same kind of hard drive a laptop uses? No, they use these little ones, Chuck. Get one of those too, then. I have a laptop that quit a few months ago. Same problem. Hard drives don't like me. You get it running and you can use it. How does that sound? Another smile to eclipse the sun. And she asked about the software that came with the machines, and after I told her I had all that, she smiled, and off we went. At my house, she asked for the little girl's room, then came out and got to work. My computer was up and running in an hour, and she was dumping saved files on it. She asked for a little screwdriver and had a new hard drive in my old laptop, and had it running alongside the other. She was a machine. Both computers were up and running before I knew it.
Lydia, you're great. Thank you. Here's $200. Here's the charger for that laptop and the bag to keep it in. I don't like it because my hands are too big and I make too many mistakes on it, but maybe you can get some use out of it.
I owe you for this, Chuck. This is a nice laptop. Not to me, it's not. I've all but worn out the backspace key fixing problems caused by my thumb dragging over that pad thing. Never mind. I use my big one and I'm happy. If you owe me, though, why don't you keep me company for a late snack? I'll buy and then get you back to the dorm. Thanks, Chuck. I'd like that. Anything special you like or can't do for a bite? Mexican this late would be problematic, she said, then laughed. This girl was cute. Come on, Lydia. Let's print this other paper out off my thumb drive here, then we'll go eat. She brought it up, I pointed it out, and off it came through my Big Brother laser printer. Thanks. Looks like I have a world that turns once more. I took her to a late-night Wendy's. She had a potato with extra sour cream and a Frosty. Cheap date. Lydia, are you seeing anyone? You are really cute. You seem to be a really nice girl, and I'd really like to get to know you better. Really. Chuck, you seem like a nice guy, so I'll finish my comment from the library. You asked if I was your library fairy. I'm not quite what I seem. I'm a girl for the most part, but... Chuck, I'm sorry. Forget it. I'm not your type. You need a woman, not a little girl like me. Lydia, I'd like to have a chance to decide what I need and what I want. You were about to tell me something and decided not to. That's fine, but don't, please don't, prejudge me on what I might or might not prejudge you about. I'd like to see you again. That's all. If you want to finish telling me then, fine. If not, I'll want to see you again. And again. And again. Am I making myself clear? She nodded, and the movement shook the tear on her cheek loose. I wiped it up with a napkin, then dabbed her cheeks. A girl she knew stopped over by the table to check on her. Hey Lydia, you okay, girlfriend? I recognised the girl. She was a cheerleader and was in the engineering programme at our university. Oh, hey, Mr. Chambers. Is Miss Lydia okay? As a TA, a teacher's assistant, I saw most of the kids in the programme at one point or another. She was a bright one. She was an African-American beauty, enrolled in the electrical engineering path on a scholastic scholarship through a charter school programme. She was so athletic, she also made some scholarship points as a cheerleader for our basketball team. They called her a flyer and threw her around like a rag doll, but she loved it. I think she loved it. She was always smiling, so it was hard to tell. Yes, Monica, I brought her for a snack after she fixed my computer. She was just telling me a little about herself. Oh God, don't tell me, Monica said, putting her hand over her mouth. No, Monica, not yet. But thanks. After that display, I might as well tell him already. I'm sure he's bright enough to put 2 and 2 together by now. Let me do it. Mr. Chambers is cool, Lydia. Watch this. She turned to me. Mr. Chambers, Miss Lydia is not an engineering student, so she's not off limits. She is, however, a dorm suite mate of mine, so I know a bit about her. She is a nice girl and doesn't party or play around and drink and raise hell. She studies, has a 4.0 average, is on the dean's list, and has a small penis where most of the girls have other things. She is more of a woman than I am, though. Looks absolutely stunning in the one cocktail dress I've seen her in, has legs to die for, and is loved and admired by everybody in our building except Betsy Turner, and Betsy doesn't even like her own mother. Oh, only about 3 of us know about Lydia's physical attributes. We share a bathroom. The rest just love her for being her. Questions? Will you ask Lydia if she'll go out with me? She seems to think I'm looking for something other than what I'm looking at. I was talking to Monica, but looking directly into Lydia's eyes. She turned to Lydia. Lydia, this is way out of my wheelhouse, but since I'm an engineering student, and sucking face with one of your TAs is frowned upon, will you go out with Mr. Chambers and tell me all about it so I can live my love life vicariously through you? You'd be doing me a great favour, especially if you told me about it late at night with the lights off and... Monica, shut up, God, how embarrassing. Good Lord. Okay, Chuck, I'll go out with you. If for no other reason, just to get this sex maniac out of my face about it. And Monica, what the hell? You're a lesbian. I choose to be a lesbian. If the right man came along... She looked at me and licked her fantastically shaped plump lips. Just saying. You two be good, and Mr. Chambers, please don't make her cry again. There are a lot of girls in that dormitory over there, and in big enough numbers. Just remember the ants in South America. They kill and eat cattle. I'll leave you with that thought. She leaned down and kissed Lydia's cheek, rubbed her fingers across my shoulder, giggled and walked over by a friend to sit. You could have told me, Lydia, but I understand why you didn't really want to. To be honest, I think I understood what you were going to say long before. You are too feminine and probably have made an effort to be more of a girl than most girls will ever be. That's something I noticed a long time ago. Trans girls seem to be more effeminate, more womanly, more willing to be desirable to men than real girls. Sorry, I know you're a real girl. Stop apologising. You told me you'd take me back to the dorm. You don't mind? I can catch a late bus if you'd rather not bother with me. No, I'd rather take you. It's getting a little late, and I'd really rather bother. Really, I told her. She giggled. She noticed my overuse of the word really. I didn't want her, or any students come to think of it, running around alone this late at night. We left, saying goodnight to Monica and her friend on the way out. I hadn't noticed, but I put my hand in the middle of her lower back on the way out. It was just a subconscious move on my part. She looked straight up at me and smiled. My library fairy was not a big girl. Once I had helped her into the car, I took her through the campus and stopped outside her building. I was in a reserved staff spot, but late at night, and with my stickers, I figured I'd be okay. Chuck, are you sure you're okay with this? It's scary for me. I had one bad experience very recently. He didn't know up front, though, did he? She shook her head. I know. And knowing is half the battle. I reached out for her cheek. She reached up and held my hand to it. Look, I mentioned before about being feminine and all. I'm a lover of the feminine, I really am. Dresses, hose, heels, all that. Girls just don't seem to want to do that anymore. I do. I like them. I'm wearing slacks because it was supposed to be windy and cold today. I'm not studying meteorology or anything, but I know how to dress when the weather girl is calling for snow snakes. She smiled. You look good in them, very good. I'd like to see you again. You're a pretty girl, Lydia. Thank you. She leaned forward and kissed me gently over the console. How will you find me, Chuck? I don't have a phone or anything. You're my library fairy. I'll start there. Okay, sounds good. Thank you again. She kissed me again. Then, before I could get out to walk her over to the door, she was gone, through the door and on the elevator. I sat down, relaxed, and sat there for a bit. The knock on my window startled me. I looked over at the Nubian goddess, one Monica Maples, staring at me through my window. I rolled it down. You okay with Lydia, Mr. Chambers? I'd hate to see her get hurt again. The last guy was pretty nice until he found out she wasn't giving him any nookie, then really an arse to her when he found out why. He actually hurt her. She just needs to find a human being, sir. Keep that in mind. I will, Monica, I will. See you tomorrow. Oh, if you see Lydia tonight, please don't tell her I was down here daydreaming like a love-struck teenager. It wouldn't be good for my reputation. Actually, sir, it would. About half the campus thinks you're a hermit. Lonely by choice and beyond approaching or fixing. She laughed. Don't worry. I saw the look on your face at Wendy's. Your secret is safe with me, and every other girl that saw you look at Lydia. Be careful not to let her break your heart either, sir. See you tomorrow. She wiggled her fingers and walked inside with her buddy. I drove back to the house and started doing research on my new favourite subject. Oh my, did I have a lot to learn. Bedtime brought fitful sleep as I kept wondering what I saw in her. She was a very pretty girl, though, and had a wonderful attitude and demeanour. And she could fix a computer. I needed to find out what she was studying. If it was computers, that would put her in the engineering school. The alarm went off and my first thought was to be thankful for Lydia and my paper being ready for the old battle axe today. Even graduate students had things to turn in, and I was no exception. Even though I was about 4 months from landing my doctorate and being able to go home and take over our business from my father's partners, I still had work to do. Long story, but that was the deal. They were all bought out a few years ago. But when Mom and Dad were lost in a ferry accident in Indonesia on vacation, the partners came back to hold down the fort until I could get through school and take over. It was close to happening. I had an MBA already, so I could probably handle the business side, but we're a technology company, so they figured I needed to know what happened when an electron fell on the floor into the bit bucket. Sorry, terrible joke. Good morning, Mr. Chambers. How are you doing today? Fine, Mrs. Chambers. And you? We'll see. 6 of us were in a morning seminar spearheaded, or I should say, belt-beaten by a nasty old woman who just happened to be my uncle's wife of 25 years or so. He hated me, she hated me, and the world knew it. My uncle and my father parted ways about the time I was a toddler, and never made amends. Now, here I was, with her seminar, a couple of other classes, a lab and a thesis defence away from taking control of our namesake, a company he and Dad started over 30 years ago. Chambers Enterprises, Incorporated. Dad bowed him out, after a tiff between them involving plans for the future of the company, and then went on to make millions upon millions while my dear old uncle Scrooge that he is, went back into academia and met this wonderful gag woman. The deans of both the engineering school and the university knew me and them, and the issues, and just told me to do my best and they'd make sure everyone played fair. Okay, fine. The seminar was constructive. I listened, for the most part. The 2 points I wanted to make, another student, a really bright woman, made for me, so I got to listen to the battle axe tear her logic up, even though it would have been the right answer in everyone's opinion. Save Auntie Axe. Another day, another credit. I was feeling pretty good about going almost unscathed through the morning, so I decided to hit the library. I had a couple of things to look up that would be easier in print than on a computer screen, so I headed over. My library fairy was talking to a guy in a fairly animated fashion, and I thought seriously about making myself scarce when she saw me. She waved and motioned me over, making it clear that I was wanted near her. Quickly. So I did my duty, as I saw fit. Barry, this is Mr. Chambers, one of Monica's instructors. What can I help you with, Mr. Chambers? Barry was just leaving. Before he said anything out loud, he'd be sorry for. Barry was about 2 inches shorter and 40 pounds heavier than me. I had a feeling none of it was fat. He looked like a running back for our school football team. I later found out I was right. Second string, though. No cheerleaders for him. He looked at me and smirked, then turned back to her. Listen, you little queer. If I find out anyone else knows I went out with your stupid tranny ass, I'll make you wish. I'd heard enough. I grabbed the pressure point in his elbow and made him throw up in the trash can he was standing next to. Quietly, very quietly. I want you to walk with me to the men's room. You aren't feeling well and need to go there to clean your face up a bit and make sure you're okay. Understood. He tensed, so I made him throw up again. He nodded. Good boy. Lydia, darling, I'll be back in a minute. Okay. She looked at me in abject fear and nodded. Don't go away, hun. Please. I have a question I need to ask you. Come, Barry. Bathroom. When we got into the men's room, I asked him what was going on. He told me that when he got his bearings, he was going to kill me, but went on to say that he went out with that trap-ass sissy piece of shit. And when he went to do her, she said no. Then he found out the queer-assed fucker was a guy. He moved a bit to come around on me, thinking he had his footing, but wound up vomiting in a urinal. Another guy came in and, seeing the commotion, asked me if I was okay. Staff normally had badges on lanyards we wore, and at the time I did, so I looked all official when I told him we were fine and that old Barry there must have gotten a hold of some bad milk in the cafeteria or something. Okay, just wanted to make sure. He peed next to Barry, flushed, washed up, then walked out. Okay, Barry, we're going to try this again. You're upset because you found out that a really pretty girl you had the hots to bang was really a gender dysphoric teenager, and although she was born with male parts, was actually a girl and has been for some time. Right? He nodded. He was about to say something when he got queasy again. Here's the deal. We're going to go through this once, then never speak of it again. Deal? Another queasy spell, then a nod. Good. I am going to date Miss Lydia. If she'll have me, that is. She's pretty and she's nice. She's more of a woman than most of the women on this campus. You aren't going to say anything to anyone about anything, or the entire school will know of your escapades and how you tried so hard to get into what you think are a boy's pants. You see, Barry, I don't care that she's got an itty-bitty clitty. I care that she looks good in a skirt and heels. Understood? He looked at me funny. She's an attractive woman, dipstick. Even you thought so. I'm not asking her to have my children, just to date, have dinner, talk about fun stuff, and make fun of football players. He tensed up again. Puke. Back to the deal. More of a bottom line. You're probably on a football scholarship, right? He nodded. Think you can play if I do this to your knee for a while? His eyes went wide open. Got it in one. Speak in an unfriendly tone to her again and you won't play football again. Ever. Not a threat, Barry, a promise. I mean that. You need to stop being a bully. And young man, if you think you have friends on the football team, think again. I actually give some of the starters grades. Oh, and 2 of them are second cousins. Be careful. We done here? He nodded. Good. Bye. He walked out, but when he looked back, I really doubted it was over. I'd have to talk to my cousins and ask them to keep their ears open. One thing Barry needs to know, Lydia too for that matter. I don't lie. I don't even bluff well. If I go all in, I've got something. I walked out and saw Lydia watching Barry walk out of the library without even looking at her. Oh, lordy, was he upset. He was probably thinking of a way to kill me as he walked out. Lydia, sorry for the display, he upset me. I'm sorry for butting in, but he almost violated the school's policy on inclusive behaviour, and I didn't want him expelled. Who knows? Someone on our team may get hurt and they might need Barry to do something silly like play football or something. Are you okay? Yes, just a bit scared. He let go of my arm when you walked up, but he had it pretty good. I looked at it and knew a bruise was coming. So did she. Yep, yuck. Long sleeves for a couple weeks. At least it's cold this time of year. Lydia, I need to know if he confronts you again. Just don't mention to anyone that he tried to, I made air quotes, do you, and we should be okay. She giggled. Now I was going to ask you, what is it you are studying? Promise not to laugh. Heck no. If you were to tell me library management or something like that, I'd laugh my arse off. And at this rate, when you're done, you'll weigh about 30 pounds. So much for the nice engineer. I chuckled. Are you serious? I made fun of library studies and you got caught in the crossfire? Yes. I'd say, yes, asshole, but I don't know you well enough. I was actually hoping, like Monica intimated, that you might want to ask me out, but now I find out you are library phobic. Out of the pan into the fire. A trans-homophobe to a libraphobe. I just can't effing win. I looked around, and seeing almost no one, and certainly no one looking at us, I took her in my arms and kissed her. I whispered in her ear. I think librarians are sexy. Books, glasses, skirts, heels. Sexy. She pushed against me, creating some space, and looked up. You think you can win me back with a kiss and a line like that? And lunch? Maybe. Another kiss and we'll see. We did. Then she hugged me around my chest. Thank you so much for being here. He's such a bully. I was actually afraid he'd hit me again when no one was looking, and the place was almost empty. My shoulder still hurts from the last time. Really, Chuck. Thank you. You're working here, aren't you, hun? She nodded. I should have picked up on that last night. When is lunch, anyway? She shrugged. Pretty much any time if we're not busy. Want to go somewhere and talk? I nodded. Let me go tell Ms. Bailey. She went into an office and came back out, then led me across the street to a little coffee shop bistro operation. Order for both of us, doll. I've never been here before. I watched her walk, more like a sachet, up to the counter and ordered. She looked like $1,000,000 in her skirt, dark stockings, and plain black stiletto pumps, bringing back a Pepsi with 2 straws. I looked at her funny. You kissed me. We can share a drink. Got it. Understood. Makes perfect sense. I was kidding. Then I thought about it for a second and told her. Actually, I guess it does make sense. Cool. Okay. Lydia, to what end are you studying library management? Library sciences, actually. Chuck, every company worth its weight in regulations has a filing system, a storage system, and a retrieval system. From the smallest dry cleaners to the largest aerospace firms. Mom and Pop to the military. They need organised people to organise. That's me. I'm a sophomore now, taking the minimum qualifying workload and working my way through school. 4.5 years, both taking classes and working, even in the summers for my bachelor's. Then I can sell myself to the highest bidder. I plan on doing my master's part-time and work full-time. Wow, you've got it all figured out, don't you? Yes. Summers, school and working. That's the plan. Tell me about Lydia, please. No, you first. I've said too much. She got up for our tray when they called her name. I want to know who the nice man is that gave me such a nice computer. You know that thing's almost new. I hate it. I hope it makes you happy. It's like a cat. Won't sit in my lap but goes to yours. Oh, never mind. That's too close to real life. I did notice the cat, but it didn't come to me. Just wait. When you're not busy throwing tools and shiny CDs around like a ninja, he'll check you out. Okay, Chuck Chambers, Charles. Only child of Charlie and Annie Chambers, of Chambers Enterprises. You? I held my finger to my lips. Shh, not done. Close, but not yet. Ascension Trust requires I finish my education before I take over. I already got the MBA done, but they wanted me to have a PhD in electronics, hence engineering school. I did a few years in the military too, but that was when everyone was happy, healthy and okay with me goofing off. I wound up doing a special assignment with some special people who showed me a lot of things, not the least of which was how to make a jock vomit. Chuck, stop, we're eating. Sorry. In any case, in 4 months I'm out of here, done having fun and back to what will surely be my undoing. It killed my grandfather, my father, and now it is sure to kill me. Charles Chambers, you are full of shit. Everyone in this state knows your grandfather was killed trying to stop a bank robbery, and your father died in a shipwreck. That company never killed anyone. Grandpa was depositing money for the company. Don't joke, he was a hero. More so to me. Okay, done. What about Lydia? Lydia Evelyn, born Lloyd Everett Preston. I guess I was about 4 when Mum and Dad started seeing me for what I was, and it wasn't a little boy. I was very carefully pointed back in the correct, she air-quoted, direction, but it never took. At 9, a psychiatrist told them I was a girl, and my life began anew. My father actually accepted me as a girl. Most fathers don't. I had 2 supportive parents. A miracle in the arena. Medicine, both before and after puberty. An operation here and there, and voila. A girl who feels more at home in skirts, hose and heels than in slacks. Except when it's really cold, and yesterday was a bit chilly. Now, Chuck, I know you have questions. You can ask them and I'll do my best, or we can play it by ear. Yes, Lydia Evelyn Preston. I have questions. I have answers too. You like Mexican. You know more about computers than I do, and you are my kind of girl when you dress. Can you dance? That's one of my questions. The other is a bit personal, but since we're sharing a Pepsi... I raised my eyebrow. Yes, somewhat. I like it more than I'm good at it. The dancing. Now, ask away. If it's answerable, I will. Stockings or pantyhose? You cad. Stockings. Pantyhose only when needed. Hot pants and slacks included. Think you can get any more personal than that? Garter belts or thigh highs? That's too personal. For now. Finish your sandwich, I need some fresh air. You're a dirty young man. She reached for my hand as I set my napkin down and put it on her thigh. I could feel the tabs on the garter belt and the stocking welt on her thigh. Then she took my hand, kissed it, and put it back up to my napkin. Way too personal. 2nd date material at least. Maybe 3rd. Something to think about. Lydia, will you go dancing with me Saturday night? I need to close the library. Can you pick me up there at 8? Done. Thank you for lunch. That was a good sandwich. I had good company. I'm having a good time. We got up and went to the register where I paid, and we walked out. I am too, Chuck. Please tell me if anything needs discussed. Please. I'm scared to death. You know. I know you know. You're still acting like a gentleman and I'm still feeling like a lady. What happens when the other shoe drops? I kiss you again. I did. Stop worrying, Lydia. You're a beautiful girl. I'm proud you'd be seen with an old fogey like me. Chuck, how old are you anyway? I'm thinking 29. I kissed her again. Not quite. Close. 33. I was in the service for quite a while. You? I'm thinking 19. In May, I graduated early and all. Whew, legal. Barely, that was close. She slapped my arm, then hugged it to her as we walked back across the street. It was February. Cold. Snow snakes were the most prominent form of wildlife. Can I see you tonight, Lydia? Even if it's just to talk while we study. I'd like that, but I do need to study. I have a paper I'm doing for an angry liblit professor. Where are you recommending? You've been to my house and have left unscathed and unsullied. I'm sure we can make it 2 nights in a row. Pick you up? When are you off? 5. Chuck, I kissed her. Yes, Lydia, I'm sure. 5. I'll be here. I went to a department store on the way to my house and went looking for a salesgirl in the women's wear department. I found one, about Lydia's size. I need some blue silk pyjamas and a matching robe and slippers. Conservative. I looked at her and held my hands out to frame her. About that size. She laughed. Sir, conservative and silk? Wow. Mo, I know. Back here. The girl led me to the edge of the lingerie department. They had the perfect set. Oriental pattern, silk. It just flowed. You could hardly hold it without it running out of your hand. Perfect. I took them home and put them on the guest bed. Bill was going to be gone for a couple more days. He was due back Sunday, this was Thursday. All should be well. I took a shower, brushed my teeth, shaved everything, and changed undies, but put the same clothes back on. I didn't want her to know. I didn't want to look pathetic. Bad enough being pathetic without looking pathetic. I walked into the library at 5. She was checking some girl in or out, shooting books with a laser gun. She looked at me with that smile. Like the sun rose, pretty girl. When she was done, she grabbed a backpack and her laptop case and walked toward me. Lydia Hon, do you have what you need for your homework? She nodded. Let's go. I've got a surprise. I don't get to change? Yes, actually you do. Come on, trust me. Please. At the house, I took her bags and made for the office area. It was really the dining room, but the house we bought near the university was turned into a crash pad, and the dining room an office/study room. There was a desk, a table, both with desk chairs and a love seat easy chair to curl up and read in. It was really a nice setup, and to be honest, I'd miss it. After I put her things on the table, I took her hand and started toward the hallway. She hesitated. I stopped. Sorry, that must have looked and seemed terrible. I'll stay out here. Go. Second door on the left. Guest room. Something to change into and get comfortable. Lock on the door. I'll stay out here. I didn't mean to scare you, baby. I'm sorry. She went back and came out in the pyjamas, crying. Baby, you're beautiful. Why are you crying, honey? I was scared. I didn't trust you. I was stupid. I'm so ashamed. I'm sorry. No, never. It was my fault. My fault completely. I need to be more careful. Not anymore. I'm fine. I'm fine. I've never been better. Hold me, Chuck. Please accept my apology. You were being so nice, and I was being a bitch. I did hold her. She felt amazing. She had nothing on under the pyjamas except, I think, some type of panties. I took her chin, pulled it up, and kissed her. Do your homework. We didn't come over here to make out like hormone-crazed teenagers. The pyjamas, honest, were just so you could relax, okay? She nodded. You right. I'm going to read. Right after I throw some junk in the oven. Thank you, Chuck. Remind me to ask you something later. Baby, whatever it is, ask me something later. Jerk! Later, remind me to ask you something. Men! She giggled, kissed me, and sat at the table with her laptop and all her papers out. She was really going at it 1,000,000 miles an hour. Girl could type. That laptop was perfect for her. We took a break around 7. I took her into the kitchen where we sat and shared some leftover lasagna and garlic bread. She was very appreciative. It's later. Why me, Chuck? Why me? Oh, I thought you were going to ask me a hard one. Okay, let's see. You are pretty, you are nice, you are friendly. You dress the way I like to see women dressed. I mean, except now. You're comfortable, though, and that's important. I just think you're different, Lydia, special. You are my kind of woman. Even though... Yes, doll, even though you're special. Even then. Lydia, darling, I'm going to use a phrase that is so overused it's not funny, but mark what I say, because it was never more true than in this instance, with you. It's not what's between your legs that turns me on, baby. It's what's between your ears. Okay? You need to understand that. I am enamoured by Lydia Evelyn Preston. All of her. She got up and came around the table to sit in my lap. Not a word was said for about 5 minutes. I have homework to finish. Did you make the lasagna? No, I made the bread, though. I turned on the oven. I'm worth something. She laughed. It was all good, Chuck. The lasagna was great. It needs something, but I can't put my finger on it. It was really good, though. I picked up my phone and said into it, Hey, Olive Garden. My girlfriend says your lasagna sucks. My bread was good, though. Nina. She laughed. Is that true? Yes, doll. I made the garlic bread with a fresh loaf of Wally World French bread, and the lasagna was a big order from Olive Garden a long time ago. I'm amazed it was edible. It was in the freezer for weeks. No, Chuck, I don't care about the food. It was great. I meant the girlfriend part. I hope so, Lydia. I really do. I like you. A lot. Go. You have homework to do. I don't want your parents mad at me. She kissed me and padded off to the office. She was barefoot. Even her feet were pretty. This time, Fred came out. She was barefoot, and I guess that was his cue. He rubbed up against her feet and ankles a couple times. She spewed forth some baby talk, reached down for an ear and a tail rub, and off he went. She was just the woodwork now. She was back at it, turning to look at me every 10 or 15 minutes. I could see her checking me out, but we were looking at each other. I read, she wrote, we worked. It was nice. It was easy. About 10 she started cleaning up. Done. I think it will work. Can I print it out? It's like 8 pages. I have my own paper. Let me check the paper tray. I did. Go for it, hun. I just want to say, paper, lasagna, even crappy lasagna, pencils, pyjamas, honey, don't worry about providing your own. As long as you'll grace me with Lydia, I'll take care of the little stuff. Please let me do that. She kissed me and pulled her paper off the printer. I don't want you to ever think I'm taking advantage. That's all. Please do. It'll make me feel more like your man, your boyfriend. Let me, Lydia. Let me. The subsequent hug was dangerously close to assault with a squeezing weapon. You know, if I use you that way, take advantage. That makes me your woman. By golly, Fred, I think she's got it. Another slap on the arm and another kiss. Do I need to get you home, baby? She nodded. Go change. I'll get you back to the dorm. She went back to the room, wiping her eye, and came back looking like a sexy librarian again. My librarian? She nodded. We kissed, gathered her stuff, and I took her home. Again in the car, outside the dorm. You're sure? I nodded. Kiss me. Soft and gentle. Lasting. Walk me up. I nodded again. We walked up to the room. Monica was in the hallway talking with a gaggle of girls. Hey, Mr. Chambers. Hey, Lids. Sup, girlfriend? Hey, Monica. Lasagna and garlic bread, foods of the goddesses. Aphrodite and Venus specifically, Lydia told her. The girls, about 5 of them in the hallway, all laughed and made catcalls. Lydia opened her room, took her stuff from a blushing man, and set it on one of the desks. She came back, thanked me, kissed me, and told me, "Thank you and good night." She whispered, "Tonight was comfortable, and I hope it happens lots. Thank you, Chuck." I walked away again to catcalls, Lydia and Monica telling them to hush. Before I got to the elevator, though, I turned around and went back, knocking on the door. She opened it, hugged herself to my chest and cried a bit. I stepped in the room and closed the door. "Lydia, I want you to take my phone, just for tonight. I have another, and I won't call you on it or anything, but if you get a call from Charlie, go ahead and answer it. It'll be me. I'll get you a phone tomorrow. I need to know you're okay. I don't want to intrude, and if you want, I won't ever call you or bother you, but I need to know you can call me. If you need me, just say, 'Okay, Google, call Dad,' and it will call the other phone. Not yet, though. Give me a half hour or so, but then it'll work. I'm so sorry I'm moving so." She put her fingers on my lips. "Shh, you're rambling. I'm crying. Go home. Come see me tomorrow. I get off at 6 tomorrow. Come see me then, or before. It's a library. You can come in there. I'll keep the phone by me. Call Dad. Your father's old phone. Got it?" She kissed me. "Chuck, we're both moving fast. I think if we hold hands, we'll be okay. Go." One more kiss, and I was on the way. I made the elevator this time. The lobby door. The car. Home. I made it. Shit. I was done. Cooked. Way too soon to feel like this. Days. It should have been months. It was months with Beth, and it wasn't like this. And she was a G. Don't say it, asshole. Lydia is a girl. All girl. I had a class and a lab Friday. Neither was any problem at all. The woman with the seminar ideas and I were in the lab together when she mentioned the library. I told her I was headed that way if she wanted a ride. During our conversation, I had evidently told her why I was headed that way. "Isn't that where your new girlfriend works, Chuck?" "Yes, oh yes, I was probably babbling about her during class. Yes, she's working there and pushing for a library management degree or some such. When she mentioned it, and before, I thought it was, I don't know. Trivial?" Then I got to thinking about my company. Then what she said. All the information. Everything we do, need, file, store. Then I thought, wow, that's pretty damned important. In any case, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with her too. But that's my issue. We're here. We walked in together. Under normal circumstances, thinking about it, I wouldn't have expected anything less than a jealous look or a suspicious eye. What I got was a friendly librarian in a little schoolgirl skirt, a white blouse and a pair of 4-inch Mary Janes over off-black hose. "Good afternoon, Mr. Chambers. Can I help you?" "Yes. Kiss me, Vixen." She did, just a peck. "Lydia, this is a classmate, Ellen. We had a lab together today, and we're in a seminar with the Wicked Witch of the Middle together as well. I evidently couldn't stop talking about my new girlfriend today, so when I offered her a ride to the library, she was kind enough to remind me you worked here. Nice of her. No." "Thanks, Ellen. New boyfriends. You never can be too careful." They both laughed. It went over my head. "I'll see you kids later. I really came over to work. Be good. See you later, Chuck. Nice to meet you, Lydia." "You too, Ellen." Ellen took off. Lydia took my hand. "Chuck, thanks. I held your phone last night, and believe it or not, felt safe. I didn't know I didn't feel okay, but last night it was crazy. I relaxed, I slept, I felt safe." "I know, I said that. Sorry, now it's me rambling. Hang on." She went to help a customer find a reference book. She came back smiling. I like helping people, feeling wanted. Worthwhile. Well, I feel wanted. "Lydia, I want to get you a phone. Then can you come over again tonight, then still go dancing with me Saturday? I don't want to move too fast, but I seem to want to be with you lots, and I don't know how else to do it. I still have work to do. You might have some too. I don't know, but I'd like to be around you while I'm doing it. Is that too clingy?" "Clingy? Yes. Too clingy? No. Just the right amount of clingy. Still have the jammies?" I nodded. "Guest room available?" I nodded. Will you bring me home tomorrow to get ready for our outing? I nodded. It's a date. I have my work with me. Is that too much to ask? Too soon? Spending the night in the guest room? I shook my head and smiled. I get off in an hour. Go find something to read. It's a freaking library. She giggled, kissed me again, and I walked away, shaking my head. I saw Ellen in the sciences section. She really is a doll, Chuck. How old is she anyway? Too young, but I'm falling too fast to care. 18. She's been through some stuff, though. She's probably a bit mature for her age. I'll bet she is. Take care of her, Chuck. Seriously, take care of her. Whoop. Here it is. Electromagnetic fields and forces in space and vacuums. Easy reading and lots of juicy plot. Can't wait. See you Monday, Chuck. Bye, Ellen. See ya. It was the way she said it. I'll bet she is. It was like she knew. I watched at the desk as the girls talked. Ellen checking the book out, them trading a few words and smiling at each other. When Lydia came out from behind the desk and hugged Ellen, my suspicions grew. Lydia looked back over at me and smiled. I mouthed a kiss, then she did. Fuck, I'm acting like a damn teenager. Get a grip, Chuck. No, I don't have to. Grow up. Shit. I'm cooked. 6 rolled around, and when she was ready we took off. She told her co-worker goodnight and left the keys with them. Baby, sorry, Lydia, you interested in dinner on the way home? She nodded. Chuck, why did you apologise? You can call me anything you want. We shared a Pepsi. I sat in your lap over lasagna. You have my permission, if you need it, now. You have conquered my psyche. Well, maybe not my entire psyche, but you can call me baby if you want. I don't know. I was sitting in the library thinking how I was acting like a teenager. A love-struck, hormone-riddled teenager with no self-control. Honey, you have shown nothing but control. You haven't done anything I haven't wanted you to do, or haven't at least done first, and we're both suffering from it, so be easy on yourself. If you want to act like a teenager, around a teenager, go for it. But honey, next time you call me baby, don't apologise. Kiss me or something, but don't apologise. Baby, kiss me. We kissed by the car, in the cold, until we realised we were actually adults and could get in the car to warm up. We stopped by the phone store, bought her a phone similar to mine, got my information transferred onto it, and decided to go somewhere and eat. There was a little pizza place close by where you could get salads and sandwiches as well as killer college pizza. We split a sandwich and a salad and a Pepsi and headed to my house. She put her things on the table. I put mine on the desk. Then she tiptoed up in her heels, her gorgeous sexy heels, and kissed me. I'll be right back, honey. Don't go anywhere. That got us both going. I was sitting at the desk when she came back, in the pyjamas and robe. She pulled me up and over to the love seat and sat me down, crawling in my lap. I'm back. I know, thank you. Chuck, this is real, isn't it? Yep. Hey, don't freak out, but Ellen knows. She knows about me. Don't worry, though. She told me she approved and respected us both. She said the same thing you did. I'm too girly to be a girl. Who'da thunk, huh? I thought something was going on when I saw the two of you hugging when she left. She's a nice lady. Smart, too. Much smarter than me, I think. She's a guy, Charlie. Well, she was. She's kinda like me, but she started a lot later. She dresses like a woman and uses a lot of makeup and stuff. Charlie, it's a little early in our relationship, but you should know. I've had things removed but kept others. You've probably had your testicles removed but still have your penis and your prostate, correct? She nodded and looked at me quizzically. That, along with medications, allowed you to develop natural breasts and make your body more womanly? She nodded again. I did some reading the other night. I had to know about you. I think I know, in generalities, and am willing to forgo any preconceived notions about you and your femininity, and me and my masculinity, and press on. I hope that's all okay. It's more than okay, but I will warn you, I don't have much, at all. I transitioned very, very young. Let me see your pinky. She held it at the first knuckle. When I'm excited, it's about that big. I saw San. I saw a girl in the shower getting herself off once, and mine is smaller than hers. There. That's how to put it without outing a sex maniac in the dorms. In any case, it shouldn't scare you off, and I'm not about to do anything with it. She giggled. But I can. At some point, I hope. At some point, Chuck, I would like that, but I'm not ready for that yet. If I am, I'm pretty sure it will be with you, though. I think. I hope, too. Lydia, it worked, by the way. The more womanly part. You are a beautiful girl. That got me a really nice kiss and a few minutes of a make-out session. Stop. Help, help, she's accosting me. Lydia, I need to read a bit and get some notes on paper. Thank you for coming over tonight. I do too. Thank you for having me. Over. Thank you for having me over. We both laughed, then settled in to study, each leaning on an arm of the love seat, curled up with our feet touching. It was comfortable. Very, very comfortable. A couple hours later, she got up, went to the table and beat on her new laptop for a while, closed it, then sat back down. But this time, instead of leaning on the arm, she leaned on me. I put my arm around her, holding her to me, and continued to read. I was using an iPad to read at that point, so I was able to do it one-handed. Handy thing, that. I didn't want to let go. I kicked the footrest out on my side, pulled a throw over us and fell asleep with her under my arm. It was quite late when she shook my arm, led me off to my room, pulled the covers down, and after putting me in bed, climbed in after me. She spooned up to me, pulled my arm back around her, and back to sleep we went. Morning sunlight hit me through the slightly open window curtains. I was alone, but there was noise. Okay, she didn't run off. I remembered her waking me and taking me to bed. Then what? I don't remember anything after that. She walked in with a cup of coffee. Good morning, sleepyhead. Hungry? Yes, but you don't have to. I found everything. You're pretty organised. Take care of business and come on out. We can talk. Do you remember last night? Only you waking me up, nothing after that. So you don't remember me molesting your hunky body and using you to sate my base desires? No, but I think I would have remembered that. I certainly want to be awake next time. Was I good? She laughed. You were wonderful. It was fun dressing you again afterwards too. I looked down, and yes, I was completely dressed. No shoes, but I put you in bed, you fell asleep, and I snuggled up to you. You were a perfect gentleman, just as I expected. I'm going to feed you, Chuck, then ask you to take me home in a little while. I want to get ready for work and our dancing date tonight. I hope I do. Okay. It's been a while. We're talking adult dancing here, right? Not jumping around and rubbing our bottoms together? Yes, Lydia. That other type of dancing doesn't appeal to me, except in here. I haven't done much of it, but someday I want to practice. I smiled at her and got a giggle in return. We'll see. Come out in a bit and I'll feed you. She leaned down and kissed me, then padded off. I yelled out, asking if I had time for a shower. Yes, but don't dawdle. Dawdle. I was dating a woman that used the word dawdle. Lucky me. She was probably smarter than me, too. Back in the kitchen, clean and dressed, I snuck up behind her, put my hands on her flanks and kissed her neck. She pulled my hands around in front, hugging her into me. She looked up and back, puckering for a kiss. I rewarded her for her efforts, giving her what she wanted. I think I'm falling in love with you, Chuck. You need to know that. I'm not going to apologise for it, but if I get too much. If it gets to be too much, let me know. I can back off. I just think you're special, though, and I really would like you to keep me. We have time, Lydia. I'm not going anywhere. Not for a while. Yeah, there is that. In 4 months you're going home. I don't want to think about that now. That's a long time off. She got quiet as we ate. I thanked her for breakfast, which was quite a production with an omelette and toast. She found a couple decent potatoes and even had hash browns next to it. I did the dishes while she got dressed. I hugged her when she came back out and told her how pretty I thought she was. I got her back to the dorm, walking her up again. The halls were empty, probably most of the kids sleeping Friday night off. She kissed me and thanked me for last night, hugged me and sent me off after I told her I'd pick her up around 8 at the library. She seemed a bit more subdued when I left, but I figured it out on the way down in the elevator. She was afraid I was going to love her and leave her when I was done here at school. What to do, what to do. I had to be careful. I had to let her know this might be a long-term thing without saying it was. Neither of us knew that yet. It really was too early for a commitment like that, but I needed to decide. Could I commit to Lydia? Permanent. A real commitment? Marriage-style commitment? She said she thought she was falling in love with me. I think I'm falling in love with her. I thought that with Beth. It wasn't. True. This is different, and makes my time with Beth seem like kids playing in the backyard. But I need to make sure. I'm 15 years older than this poor girl. I don't want to screw her up any worse than... I knew what to say. I just had to formulate it properly. I rehearsed it several times, once in the mirror. That didn't work. I do not like myself enough to do that. I wonder what she sees in me. I laughed at the prospect of Chuck asking Chuck to take time as it comes and let feelings grow as they need. I picked her up at 8, meeting a vision. She told me her co-worker held down the fort about an hour ago, just long enough that she could change. She was wearing a body-hugging dress with a white print top area and a tight mid-thigh length black skirt that started just below her very ample breasts. I hadn't really noticed them being that prominent before. She always had on nice loose dress blouses or the pyjamas, so her form wasn't displayed like this. This dress fit her like a second skin. She was stunning. Monica was right. She had on sheer-off black hose and a pair of 4-inch stiletto sandals with an ankle strap. Definitely good for dancing. Not winter shoes, but we wouldn't be outside that long. And it was above freezing out right now. Her hair was hanging long and in loose curls on either side of her face. God, she was gorgeous. You're beautiful, darling. Absolutely beautiful. Ready to go? She nodded and handed me her coat to help her with. Then the laptop bag. She got her backpack, and off we went. I put her into the car. Then when I got seated and we pulled out, I started my spiel. Lydia, when I left the dorm this morning, I thought maybe you had something on your mind. Maybe remnants from the discussion in the kitchen this morning, true? Yes, Chuck, I let myself worry. I have no right, though. I don't own you. Lydia, while it's true I only have 4 months left here, we are working on figuring out if we are a we or if we're just Lydia and Chuck. If we are a we, an us, a couple, and there is a relationship at the end of I think I'm falling in love. Time doesn't matter. 4 months or 40 years. If we aren't, I'll go away, and you can find Miss Lydia's true destiny. I think in 4 months' time we'll know more than enough to make that decision. I really do. You'll think me a child, but I'm going to say it anyway. I think I already know. Ha, listen to me. I can't even say it without saying, I think. Let me try again. Chuck, I love you. I already know. Take your time, though. It's a big decision for you. Not so much for me. You are everything I could want and more. More than I deserve, yet here you are. Don't say that. You deserve the best. Thank you. So do you. A mother for your children. Your legacy for the future. I can't give you children. There are things I will never be able to do. That's why this is a much bigger deal for you than for me. Thank you for your kind words, your explanation of how you feel. I appreciate it and I'm hoping for the best. I love you. Now feed me, if you have any feelings for me at all. She giggled and kissed me, trying to break the mood. It worked. I decided right then, if she was that worried about my destiny, my future, my legacy, she was going to be involved with it. Let's go eat, my dear. Dining and dancing. An evening for romance. May I romance you, Lydia? May I try to win you over to the dark side with my sly and cunning? And a Chateaubriand for two, maybe? A loaf of bread, a glass of wine, and thou, my dear. For the heir to the throne of Chambers Enterprises, Incorporated, you sure are a corn dog. But, yes, try. I would like for you to try to be my corn dog. She kissed her fingers and rubbed my cheek with them. Dinner with her as a table mate was fun. The banter continued into the dancing, and for all intents and purposes, didn't stop. She was a good dancer, following well, with several different steps, fast and slow but always together. I don't like any other kind, to tell you the truth, and she fit right in there. From a swing to a slow country waltz, she was a great partner. Come home with me, Lydia. Use the guest room, but please let me spend more time with you tonight. She nodded on my chest as we danced. Thank you. Thank you. I kissed the top of her head. We left after a few sets, around midnight, and went home. She changed into some different pyjamas that she had brought with her. Satiny, peach-coloured with an ecru lace trim. They looked scrumptious on her. This time I noticed her breasts. She was either cold or a little excited, but I could see her poking a bit in them. Do you have pyjamas, Chuck? Maybe some long ones and a t-shirt? Anything? I did, so I changed and came back out. Dance with me again, Chuck. Hold me. We danced, her tip toeing, standing on the balls of her feet as if wearing heels. She was amazing. She felt amazing. Her skin through the satin was wonderful, electric. You are a good dancer, Chuck. I love you. There, I said it again. I love you. Kiss me. I kissed her, long and hard. I picked her up, held her to me with her legs around my waist, my hand under her bottom, not letting her go. Sit, love, the love seat in the office. Sit and hold me. We sat and I held her. For half an hour. It was pushing 2 in the morning, so it wasn't unexpected when she fell asleep in my lap. I carried her to the guest room, put her in bed, tucked her in, kissed her, and went to my own room. At 8, I woke up with her snuggled into me, spooning and holding my hand over her breast. She was sleeping. Her breathing was long and soft, reminding me a bit of Fred, who speak of the devil, was leaning on her ankle. He sounded like a 57 Chevy with glass packs. He had his purr going on. Between the two of us, I think we decided to keep our little Lydia. I laid as quiet as I could for as long as I could. Just a bit, Chuck, then you can go. I feel so safe, so loved, so wanted right now. She squeezed my hand into her breast. So happy too. Lydia, you are a gorgeous woman, attractive to no end. You have a beautiful, wonderful body. You need to know that. You are a treasure. Any man would kill to be in my position right now. Your breast feels fantastic. Thank you for telling me how good you feel in my arms. I want to be that person, Lydia. I want to be the man that makes you feel that way. I want to be yours. I can't believe I feel this strongly about you after 5 days, but I do. I won't make any promises this early, but I will tell you this. I want to be that man. She turned to kiss me. Let me up. I'll be right back. Me too. You go here, I'll go in the hallway. Meet you back here? She nodded. When I got back, she was laying in the middle of the bed, on her back. Would you help me try an experiment, Chuck? I nodded. Lay on top of me. Just let yourself down on me and cover me. Yes, like that. Legs together. Yes. Oh God, this feels wonderful. It's like I'm in you. Part of you. I love you. It's wonderful. Roll over. I did, allowing her to reach out and grab the erection that was just caused by her little experiment. Lydia, are you sure? Yes, Chuck. Hush. Enjoy. I caused it. I'll make it go away. I think I can anyway. I read about it. She slowly and gently took care of the issue, catching it in a washcloth, then laying her head on my shoulder and letting it wilt before she cleaned it up. Thank you. Sorry, but I wanted to know. I read about that in a story one time. He covered her with his body, and she felt the same thing I did. Possessed. Loved. It's a wonderful feeling. He was making love to her at the time, in the book. Maybe we can try that way sometime soon too. I'd like that, Lydia, but there is so much more we need to do as well. May I return the favour? No, love. Not today. Yes, actually, but not today. I'm looking forward to it, but... But what, honey? I want to make sure you know you love me and want to keep me before you make love to me. Positive. 100% then, when you know, I will give myself to you. Completely. I'm there, Chuck. I know. When you are sure. That's when you will own me. All of me. She kissed me. Want me to make breakfast, love? No, I will. If I can make 5 eggs over medium without breaking the yolks, I'll know. That will be my sign. Then I will ask for you to be mine, forever. And if you break a yolk? I try again next Saturday and keep trying until I get it right. I want you, Lydia, I'm sure. I hope your parents approve. They will. It's my sister I worry about. You have a sister and I'm just hearing about it now? A twin sister. Oh, God help me. There's 2 of them. She's prettier than me. Bullshit. Let's go. Coffee and breakfast. When do I get to meet these wonderful people, doll? My parents. Whenever you want. You didn't include your sister. We were in the kitchen by the coffee maker. She's not all that wonderful, Chuck. Remember when I said I had both my parents' support? I nodded. I didn't so much have my sisters. Maybe things have changed, but it's not a rosy relationship. Oh, I hope I don't make it worse. Can't happen, love. Don't worry about it anyway, it is what it is. I'll take you home when we know what we're doing, when you're sure. Week after next is a 4-day break. They're changing out the transformers in the main power station behind the admin building on campus. All of our power comes through there. The electrical classes have to be there as observers. I don't. And I already told you I was sure. I want you. For my own. Before someone takes you away from me and makes you happy. Squeal! She jumped up, wrapping her legs around my waist again. She was good at this. You're sure? Positive? I know it's early, Chuck, but I'll spend the next 4 months making sure you have all the information you need to be 100% positive if you aren't already. I am, baby, but do your best. Bill came in Sunday night with some news. I introduced them first, and Bill, being his outgoing self, congratulated me on finding a girlfriend that was obviously above my class and worthiness. Lydia and he both laughed. I thanked him with a smirk. Then we all shared in the mirth. Chuck, Sylvia came back with me and plans on working here while I finish up. I still have another year after you leave anyway, and we called around and found a little apartment. I really appreciate you letting me room up here. It's really been a godsend. He hugged me and went to his room for a few things. I'll be back for the rest of my stuff this week. Thanks again. Lydia, it was nice to meet you. See you both this week. And he was off. Do you need to find another roommate, Chuck? Not really, doll, but I'm interviewing as we speak, so who knows? I own the house outright. Bill needed a place when he moved here, and I was able to help. We both knew it was temporary. What do you mean? Oh, Lydia, think. Think before you speak, girl, Lydia said out loud to herself, mostly for my benefit. Sometimes I wonder about myself. She giggled. I chuckled and kissed her. We studied, mostly together when she was off work, but I took her home to the dorm most nights. The next Friday night, we went out for a pizza and a beer, and of course a Pepsi, then back to the house. Back home, without pretense, she crawled into bed with me, and with her head on my shoulder, we snuggled before we fell asleep. This time she woke up first, and I could feel her rubbing my belly, gently, I think trying to wake me up. I decided to show her number 1, who was boss, and number 2, that we were far enough along that I wanted her, only her, and all of her. So, I roared. She flinched. I grabbed her, turned her over on her back, and while she was squealing, lifted her shirt and raspberried her tummy. She broke out in fits of giggles, which was what I wanted. It was what I needed at that point. She grabbed my shoulders, at which time I took her wrists in one hand and her pants with the other, wrists up, pants down. "Charles Chambers, don't you dare. You beast. No." Then I pulled her ankles up so I could get her little nubbin. "If you bite me, I swear to God, I will beat the crap out of you. Animal." Then I sucked it into my mouth. Oh God, Chuck, love. Oh, my, no. And she came. She squirted a little bit right on my tongue as I worked it on the roof of my mouth. I had given my future, my love, her first, literally man-made orgasm. Her whole body went soft, wet noodle soft. I wanted to make a joke about being taken against my will, but the only thing I told you not to do was bite me, and you didn't. I can't believe you did that, honey. It felt out of this world. It was... I've never... ever... I kissed her and shared what I had in my mouth. "I love you. Do you believe me now? I've never done that before, with anyone, not even her. You are mine now, all mine. Give yourself to me, Lydia. You said you would if I was sure. Are you mine?" "Yes, love. All yours. 2 weeks after you opened my heart, it's yours. All of me is yours. Completely." I made 5 eggs that morning, all perfect, with sourdough toast and bacon. She said, "I'll even do the dishes since your sign has shown the way, the light, and the truth." She laughed because I did all the eggs without breaking them. We did the dishes together, then spent the rest of Saturday studying. For a while, we were both reading. Intently. I pulled her into my lap and we continued to read. It was nice, just to have her there. She fit well, and we could both concentrate. The weekend after that, on Friday, we were going to her hometown to meet her family. We didn't have to be back until Monday. Classes started back up on Tuesday with a new substation on campus. The big dorm buildings would have generators on them, but that was the only power for the entire campus. The students were warned, and most were going home. We were discussing the trip, but she corrected me in a very loving way. I said, "Well, doll, we're going home. You excited?" "Chuck, please don't take this wrong, and I'm not trying to pry myself into your life any more than I have, but where your lap is, that's my home. I understand what you are saying, and 3 weeks ago that was true, but you are my home now. I meant it when I gave myself to you, honey. I am yours. A mere decoration for your life, your home, and hopefully, your heart." Funny girl, even though I don't think you were trying to be. You are so much more than a decoration. You will come to find that we are going to become one. Soon. More to come tomorrow night. How far is it exactly? 2.5 hours. 3 if the weather changes. All interstate, though. Mum's expecting us around noon or so. We should try to leave before 9, okay? Thursday night she treated me to the same I did for her Saturday morning, and I found out what the big deal was all about. You see, that's something Beth never did either. We were really boring people, I guess. But I'll tell you this, having a librarian perform oral, even a student librarian, is a mind-numbing experience. I had no idea if Lydia was good at what she was doing or not, but her first time giving and my first time getting were monumental in scope. I don't remember ever hurting that bad and good at the same time, in the same place. My little librarian turned me inside out. Then she climbed up on top of me and kissed me. She'd swallowed everything, but I pulled on her as she climbed and let her know I wanted the kiss. She fell asleep on my chest. 7 o'clock found us cursing the alarm and taking our first shower together. We were in no hurry, so took our time, exploring, loving, touching, and enjoying each other. She took me to another orgasm, coming on her chest, and I did the same for her. She loved my soapy hand rubbing between her cheeks while I held her clitty with my fingers and thumb. We were learning so much, so quickly, yet there was so much more. I leaned down just before she came and nibbled on, then sucked a nipple, and almost an entire breast into my mouth. She came so hard I had to hold her up, but I did so safely. and no one was injured during the making of our first mutual bathing experience. We talked about the future while we were on the road. I asked her if there was any way she could finish her education at a different school, or if she intended for us to have a long-distance love affair. "Oh no, mister. Once I get my hands on you, I'm not letting go," she laughed. "No, hun, I can transfer anywhere from where we're at. Not always easy the other way, but everyone accepts our school's credits. I want to be with you even if I have to drop out for a while." "No, I want you to finish. I have an idea, but it's an extension of yours." "Oh, really? Where would you want me to finish?" "We'll see. Wash U, SLU, Mo Bap, Lindenwood. We'll see. You need to figure out the best school for your needs, not the other way around. You have a job now. You just need to finish so that you're happy with it." "What job would that be, Mr. Chambers?"
Vice President of Information Systems, Chambers Enterprises, Inc. It's a new position. We have the department, but I need to restructure them and install a knowledgeable person to be the head of it. I think that's you. A little nepotism, a little knowledge, a little cute librarian, and we're all set.
You have to be shitting me, Chuck. How can you do that when you have people already? But I don't, baby. I have a document section, a computer and computer security section, and an information security section. They all answer to the operations guy. Fail. I want to have them answer to you, and you and the operations guy talk to me. Win-win. You can direct processes and all that, just like you're learning in school. I can run the business and you can show me where to find stuff and make sure the Russians don't see it. It'll work. You'll see. We'll have a ball. Oh my God. Oh, look! Which exit do we take? We're just outside St. Joe now. She led us to their house, where we got a really nice greeting from her mother. The others were at school and work, her sister and father respectively. "Mr. Chambers, I understand from my daughter here that you're an engineer. What do you engineer on, sir? I'm not a complete dummy. I know it's probably not a train, but what do you do?" "Mrs. Preston." "Linda, please, Mr. Chambers." "Linda, I'm going to assume your daughter told you very little about me then. I'm just a lowly electronics engineer and plan on making little electronical thingies like my daddy did, and his daddy did, before him." "Mama, he's teasing you." "I didn't tell you all much because I wanted it to come from him. Tell her the truth, Chuck. Of the three of them, she'll understand it best. Seriously. Lynette is a space cadet who listens to pop radio and Daddy is a heavy equipment operator. He's a hockey fan. Mama listens to Mozart and Chopin. Enough said." Linda smiled at her, then turned to me and said, "Out with it, Buster. Mr. Charles Chambers, if you want to date my daughter, we want to know all there is to know about you." She laughed. "Okay, Linda. In the first place, you can call me Charlie. Just Charlie for now. I am the heir apparent to the Chambers Enterprises companies. About 4 different branches that make up the corporation. I'm in school finishing up so I can go back and take over at the helm my father left for me after his passing in a shipwreck off of Indonesia a couple years ago. I heard about that. So you are Charlie Chambers's son? Well, I'll be damned. That makes you Chaz's grandson. I guess you'll do. Lydia, I give my permission for Mr. Charlie, for now, to court you." She giggled. "Just Charlie. Charlie, for now. Sorry. I just had to. I joke around when I'm nervous. Let's not share this with the others right now. I'll tell Lydia's father in private, and Lynette doesn't need to know. That's probably not necessary quite yet. I'm going to assume you and Lydia have had the talk so that there won't be any surprises. Ever?" I held up my hand to Lydia before she spoke. "Linda, we've talked. We'll do more than talk after dinner tonight. Am I taking us out somewhere or are we eating here? I'd just as soon take us out, if that's okay, so that we don't create any undue burden on anyone." "Accepted. I'll have Larry change as soon as he gets in and meets you, then we'll head out. He's an old-fashioned eat, right after work kind of guy. But a bit of a delay for this shouldn't do too much harm." We sat and chatted a bit about timing and all. Then when Larry and Lynette, father and sister, came in, they were advised to clean up and get ready to go. They were meeting us at a family favourite restaurant of theirs. I could already see the smile fade from Lynette's face when she was around her sister, my fiancée. Trouble in paradise. It would be interesting to know what this was all about. After dinner was about done, loud enough that her family, and probably the surrounding tables, could hear, Lynette asked me, "So, Charlie, how long have you been gay?" "Damn it, Lynn!" I clamped my hand down on Lydia's thigh. "Stop, honey. She has every right to ask that question. She has no right, however, to an answer. Your parents may not appreciate my speaking to you this way, Lynette, but I'll say this in front of them anyway, because your sister is an adult, and I don't need their blessing, so here goes. You're a spoiled, rotten, inconsiderate little brat. If you keep up the attitude, you won't be invited to the wedding." She laughed. "In Bermuda, on the beach, all expenses paid." "Nice. Poor me. You think something like that is going to make me all nicey? Nice to the boy princess and her keeper? Whatever. You've got nothing I want, and I've got nothing you want. Just stay out of my way and I'll do the same. Forget I asked. They say you're born with it anyway." "Lynette, find someplace else to live. That was the final straw. You're a big girl. You talk a big game. Do it somewhere else. I could see you being jealous of your sister, but not treating Mr. Chambers poorly. That's over the edge." Her father's voice was cold as ice, smooth as silk, and hard as nails. "Sister. My butt." "I hope you don't think I'm kidding, Lynette. Monday morning you wake up somewhere else. I'm done," Larry said. Linda just sat there shaking her head. "Whatever." "Lynette, one more thing. Then Lydia and I are leaving. She's more of a woman than you'll ever be. I feel sorry for any man you get close to. If you lean that way. I'm thinking thou doth protest too much. Dressing like a slut doesn't make you a woman. It makes you a slut wannabe. Come on, Lydia. Linda, Larry, will be by the house tomorrow to visit. I need to ask you for your daughter's hand, but in this company, I don't think it would be a propriety. I'll settle with the waiter on the way out. Have a good evening. Please stay for dessert. We'll have enough time to stop by, get our bags and find a hotel." I walked to the head podium. He got our waiter and I paid, leaving a substantial tip and enough to cover dessert. I had him take each of them something different, but still chocolate. Then we left. In the hotel that night, she sat in my lap while I was leaning on the headboard. "I rocked," she cried. "She hates me. She's always hated me. I've never done anything to hurt her, and yet it's always like this. Now Daddy is kicking her out, and she'll blame me. Do you want me to try to talk to her? Find out what she's angry about? Anything like that?" "Honey, if I thought it would help, I'd ask you to. Nothing seems to work. Nothing. I'll talk to your mother and father tomorrow. Maybe she can be saved. Of course, I didn't help by calling her a slut tonight." "You didn't. You called her a slut wannabe. That had to hurt even worse. I'm sorry. Whatever you think is best. You're good with people. You made my life a lot better. Are you really going to ask my father for my hand in marriage tomorrow?" "That's the plan." "It's only been 3 weeks, Chuck. You sure?" "I was sure in 3 days, baby. I just didn't know I was sure because it was all new. I'm sure. You okay with it?" 100%, but you need to know, if you were a car salesman... No, I take that back. If you were just an engineer and not you, I'd still love you, as long as you were you. God. That didn't make sense at all. Yes, it did, baby. You don't like car salesmen. I got the rest of it okay. Same here. If you were the librarian at the Library of Congress, honey, I'd still love you. She slapped my arm. Corn dog? Her phone rang. Hi, Mum. No, I'm fine. Your new friend Charlie is taking care of me. Pause. No. 1 room. Pause. Trust me, it's not me you have to worry about with virtues and sullying and the like. He's a real gentleman. Pause. Stop, Mum. I wasn't trying to be funny. Hold on, Chuck is getting my attention. Tell her I'm sorry I spoke out to Lynette at the table. Pause. She said she's not. She and Daddy are talking to Lynette now. Ask her if she wants me to try to talk to Lynette. Pause. If you don't mind trying to teach a pig to sing, she said. Pause. Yes, if you think it might help. Tell her I'll try tomorrow. Pause. She heard, hun. Mum, I'm sorry. Pause. Thank you. I mean it. Pause. Maybe not, but you didn't stand in my way either. Pause. I'm not jealous, Mum. I earned it all myself, and I've done it alone. But that was my plan. I'll be stronger for it, and it will mean more than it would otherwise. Pause. Someday, I'll need your help. You'll be there when I do. I know. Pause. I love you too. Kiss Daddy for me. Good night. She hung up. I asked her, so let me get this straight. They're sending your sister to school and never did that for you? Correct. I took college-level AP classes, worked to pay for the credits, got accepted, and now I have scholarships to help, and I'm working my way through school. Mum gave me a bunch of her old work clothes and shoes and the like, but other than that, neither of them has ever given me anything but a ride to school. Your mum's clothes? Yes. She's a retired assistant principal and teacher. High school. Always dressed nice. After she retired, she put on a few pounds, and I was the beneficiary of her misfortune. I love dressing like that. You've seen me? That's me. Mommy's girl. In more ways than one. Thank my mother for one of the reasons you're attracted to me, honey. One of the reasons I love you, you mean? Not my place to say, but if it's there, thank you. You know I love you. I do. I thought I had said it already, but if I haven't, Lydia Evelyn Preston, I love you. I truly do. Sounds familiar, but a girl can't hear that too much. Thank you. Rock me to sleep? I did. Her cute little purr put me to sleep too. At her parents' house late the next morning we said our hellos, then I asked Lynette if she'd talk to me in the backyard. Alone. She told her mother if I hit her she'd call the cops. I told her if I hit her I'd call the cops. Linda laughed. Lynette didn't. Larry and Lydia just shook their heads. What's the deal with the jealousy, Lynette? Jealous? Of him? You're kidding? No, I don't think I'm kidding at all. I'm pretty serious here. She's not a him, number one, and I think you are jealous. Very jealous. You'll never be happy until you find the reason and deal with it. I am happy. As soon as they put me through school like they're doing for her, she air-quoted, all will be well. Two things, Lynette. Why do you insist that she can't be a girl? Do you understand dysphoria? As a mental illness? Do you? She shook her head. Don't need to. He's her. I'm me. Second thing, do you believe your parents are putting her through school? Have to be. Can't do that university on your own. Impossible. Maybe you're beyond help. If you won't listen, you won't learn. If you won't learn, you won't survive. Law of nature. I feel sorry for you. I handed her my card. Lynette, you're about to become my sister-in-law. Call me if you get your head out of your arse and really want to make something of yourself. I can help. Hell, your sister could help if you'd lose the chip on your shoulder. Anyway, if you decide to stop fighting gravity, let me know. There are things you can't change. You need to learn that. Oh, and your parents haven't given her a dime for school. Nothing. She's doing it all on her own. She wants it that way. Mostly, probably, so she won't be anything like you when she grows up. She just stood there gawking at me as I walked inside. There you all are. Larry, I would like your daughter Lydia's hand in marriage. I can offer a bride price or a dowry or whatever they're called these days, but I'm fresh out of goats and pigs, so it'll have to be something else. He started laughing and I thought we'd lose him. You have a brother. I'd like to get rid of the grumpy one too. I shook my head. Shucks. Okay, you have my blessing. Bring her home for a holiday now and again, and we'll all be happy. The girls aren't close. Haven't been since they were 12 or so, but we still want them around. I'm still wrestling with the idea of throwing Lynette out. I don't think she's right upstairs, Charlie. I think something came loose. Maybe it was when Lydia came into herself, I don't know. But something ain't right. As long as yours is in Colombia, this one is fine, sweet as pie. Lydia comes home and it's a hate fest. Don't kick her out on my account. Oh, I forgot. I dropped to one knee and reached out for Lydia's hand. I could see Lynette had come into the house and was watching from the kitchen. Lydia, will you do me the honour of becoming my wife? She leaned down and kissed me. Yes, sweet man, I will, gladly. I love you. I put the ring on her finger, and as I did, I glanced into the kitchen at movement. Lynette was wiping her eyes. I kissed Lydia and asked her if she'd be okay with her parents for a minute. I whispered, I just figured out what's wrong, baby. Your sister is and has been in love with you. She doesn't hate you, Pumpkin, just the opposite. She loves you. I'll be right back. She smiled and nodded. I went straight to the kitchen, picked Lynette up in my arms, her screaming to put her down, and carried her to the backyard. She screamed and kicked and cried and wailed until she realised I was rocking her and petting the back of her head. Settle down a bit, Lynette. Let's talk, baby. Let's talk. Just talk. You okay? She shook her head. I rocked a bit more, just holding her to me. I sat, with her in my lap, rocking. Finally she broke. She put her arms around my neck, leaned her head on my shoulder and cried, Can we talk? She nodded. You don't want to lose her, do you? She shook her head. Did you want her for yourself? She nodded. Do you have a girlfriend, Lynette? She nodded. But it's not my Lydia. None of them are. Lynette, what are you studying? Business administration. If I go get your sister, can we talk? She shook her head. She'll never talk to me. I've been a jealous bitch. I don't blame her for hating me. I've treated her like shit because I couldn't have her. Did you ever tell her you loved her? She shook her head. Would you if I asked you to? She nodded. Stay here. If you move, I'll spank you. Then you can call the cops. She actually smiled. Stay, Lynette. I mean it. She nodded. I went inside and asked Lydia to come out with me. The parents were puzzled. Lydia, can you come out and talk to Lynette with me? If you two could hold back just a bit, I'd appreciate it. No problem, Charlie. Is everything okay? I hope so, Linda. I hope so. We went back outside, me first, and when I got to her, I just picked her up and put her back in my lap. I wrapped my arms around her and rocked. She reached out for Lydia's hand so she could look at the ring. It's beautiful, Lydia. You're a lucky girl. I could never do that for you. If I told you I was sorry for being mean, would you ever forgive me? Could you still love me? Would you be my sister? Even if I'm in love with you? She barely got the last part out before her crying began anew. Lydia fell into Lynette, both of them crying like all get out, sobbing, blubbering, kissing, sniffing, rubbing each other's cheeks, just trying to be close. I had two beautiful, snotty, teary, slobbering messes all over my shirt. I couldn't be happier. If it held. I was hoping at that point that mental health wasn't a family issue and that I didn't wind up with the dysphoric while the bipolar stayed home with Mum and Dad. Lynette, I love you. I always have. I always will. Why didn't you talk to me? We could have worked it out somehow. We still can. I need to work this out with you. Please tell me we can talk. Please tell me we can love again, Lynette, please. We can, we will. Lydia, I'm so sorry. I was selfish, hateful, terrible to you, so jealous, so mean. I don't deserve you, but I love you. I'm in love with you. I always have been. I need you. I want you back in my life. I pulled them together gently, expecting them to hug and watch them kiss instead. Gently, a peck on the lips. Lydia stood up and came around to sit on my other thigh and reached out for Lynette's face. She pulled them back together and kissed her sister, deeply. I've been wanting to do that for 8 years. Lynette, I do love you. Chuck, we need to figure something out. We need to talk. We need to fix this. I know, honey, I know. We'll do it together. You two want some time alone before we chat with the rents. Both shook their heads and stood, each holding a hand back for one of mine. We went inside, calmly, and sat in the living room, one on each side of me. Linda, Larry, we have a lot to talk about, but I don't even know where to start. They need time together and time to heal. This is Saturday, and I'm hoping by the time we come back tomorrow... For breakfast, Linda said. By the time we come back for breakfast tomorrow, we'll have a plan. Lydia needs information, Lynette needs information, I need information, and we'll figure out what to do if anything can be done. Larry asked, "Can you keep them from killing each other? Are you taking them both with you tonight? Seriously?" I have no idea, and yes, girls. They both nodded. Yes, you won't kill each other, or yes, you will. They held hands over my lap. Lydia nodded and smiled. Then in stereo they both said, "Yes, we won't kill each other." Lydia continued, "We have too much talking to do and won't have time." Lynette nodded, smiling as well. "Lynette, go get a dress and some heels. We're going out for dinner. Mum, Dad, sorry, but I want to take my sister out to dinner and start beating some sense into her." The four of them laughed. I was more restrained. I really thought out back, just before the kiss, that Lynette was going to go Rambo on my fiancé, just the opposite. She went into submission. Lydia is the dominant in the relationship. This is a never-ending story that never ends. We went back to the hotel, a king suite with a jacuzzi tub. Never in a million years did I expect Miss. I need to stop. She's not a bitch. She was hurt, misguided, lonely, and lots of other things. But she was my fiancé's sister, and that was the important part right now. But when we got the room yesterday, I never expected to have the three of us up here. It has a pull-out couch, and we don't need to use the tub to justify its existence. Lydia ran water in the tub and dumped a little bottle of bubbles they had for it. "Lynette, please, baby, I want to soak. Come with, please. Chuck, can you watch the news or something so she's not so..." As she spoke, Lynette undressed right in front of me. I have pretty good eyesight, and when I saw the panties go down and the Lydia's pet tattoo in beautiful script lettering, just about where a doctor would have to fix her appendix, maybe a touch lower, I almost died. I also noticed a plump little puddendum, with not a hair in sight. One of the prettiest little things I'd ever seen. I'd seen a bunch of them, not in person, not the ugly ones, the ones on the web and in the magazines, the pretty ones. This one was even prettier. For every bit that Lydia's clit was cute and adorable, Lynette's mons matched. They were twins, no doubt about it. She turned to her sister. Lydia broke down crying going to her sister, both of them holding each other and crying. I got up and helped them both into the tub, then went back and did my best to ignore them. What I heard, and what made me think I had all the answers, and the ability to make them happen was, "I just wanted you to want me. I wanted to be yours. You were so brave. I looked up to you. I wanted to help you and be yours. You didn't see that. You wanted me to be me. I wanted me to be your me. I love you, Lydia. Please take me home." "Okay, baby. When we're cleaned up and after dinner, I'll take you home." "No, Lydia, you don't understand. I want you to take me home. With you and Chuck. Home." "Oh my, Lynette." "You can call me baby. I like that. I want to be your baby. Chuck, yours too." "Lynette, as I was saying, you need to ask my future husband. He is my everything. He is my world. He's wonderful, but he has to make that decision." "Yes, doll, you can take your pet home. I'll give you money to pay her parents for missing the semester. You need to get her back in school, though. That will be your job. She's your pet. Don't worry about the money. Worry about the schedule, the timing, and all. Oh, and you need to start a new schedule with less work, more classes, and summers off. My wife needs vacations. Don't worry about her being in school till we get home. She can help you in the library till we leave. Check with Ms. Bailey. She can always use an unpaid volunteer." I think I feel a plan coming together. I heard a splash and 2 heads going under water together. They came up laughing, then the bubbles turned on. I put the TV on closed captioning and tried to ignore them, but it was hard. Very hard. The girls dressed, helping each other into their outfits. Lydia in an older-fashioned A-line, something an older, classy woman may wear. She had on dark brown sheer hose and shoes that matched, in contrast, the dress. It was a beautiful green with dark green trim. The shoes matched the piping. Lynette wore a little blue dress, not quite snug to her body, but still a minimalistic and fairly short frock with dark blue pantyhose and matching blue 4-inch platform pumps. Watching her put on the pantyhose was entertaining in itself. Her little private area, her pussy lips and nether regions, were a work of art, and looked smooth as silk. Lydia saw me looking and smiled at me. She nodded. "Cute," she mouthed. We went across the street to dinner, braving the cold, and enjoyed the meal and the company. The girls were making progress. They split a dessert, with Lydia feeding Lynette little bites. Yes, cute. I actually fell asleep listening to them talking over my chest after the TV timer quit. I woke up with a long-haired beauty snuggled on one side, naked, and a short-haired, somewhat similar, slightly smaller version tucked up on the other. The short-haired one was wearing my t-shirt from yesterday. I could tell, since it was the only grey one I brought. They took their clothes for the day and went in the bathroom. Lynette came out dressed and told me Lydia wanted me in there. My shower was complete, loving, and extremely well performed. She rinsed me off her chest, then handed me a wash rag and the soap, telling me to hurry. "Don't dawdle. We have company. You can help me later. I'm fine for now." We stayed in the shower stall talking for a bit. "We're going to be fine, Chuck, I promise. Thank you. Legs. Oh, that feels nice. You're a wonderful man. Done. I love you." She handed me a towel, got one for herself and dressed. Then Lydia dressed me, from nude, in front of her sister. This was a purposeful display. When I thought about it, I understood. Boxers, socks, slacks, t-shirt, tuck, button, belt, buckle, shirt out, shoes. I love this girl. Lynette watched like she was taking notes. Lydia was showing Lynette the order of things, not necessarily the clothes, but with the girls themselves. Breakfast at the Prestons was really good. Lots to eat too. The conversation was interesting. Lydia told her mother and father she was taking her sister home with her so they could work on their relationship. I expected pushback, but instead I got an eyebrow from Larry. "Daddy, Chuck will pay for the missed semester and we'll take it from there." "No. Lydia, if your relationship improves from this, it was worth it. I'm more than willing to help in the future as well. Just let me know what's happening," her father told her. Linda added her blessings. "This is the best I've seen you two get along since you were 10. Lynette, is this okay with you? You sure?" "Yes, Mama. Mr. Chambers helped me see yesterday. He helped me see where I was. He didn't realise it at the time, but I think he does now. I need to be with my sister. I need her. She doesn't need me, but I want her to want me, and that will be enough. I do. I want you with me, Linny. I do. Finish your breakfast, baby. We need to pack some things for our trip home tomorrow. You'll need plenty of clothes, dear. Especially your nice things. I want to take you places and show you things. You'll help me, won't you, Chuck? Help me with my Linny?" I nodded and kissed her. Lynette came around the table, kissed her, then hugged my neck and kissed me gently on the lips. "Thank you for helping me see through my idiocy." I hugged her back. "You're welcome. Sit down and finish your breakfast, baby." She trembled as she let go, touched Lydia's shoulder and sat down. Conversation over. There was a marked improvement in the emotional environment in the Preston household. The afternoon was spent discussing Lydia's classes and her job at the college library. She was eager for Lynette to be with her and kept including her in the conversation. The smiles that little effort created did not go unnoticed by either Linda or myself. That evening I took them out again, for Sunday dinner at a Red Lobster, We had fun, and Larry told me that was the first time he remembers that he felt the family was really a loving unit since the girls were much younger. He thanked me and told me that Linda had explained who I was and where I was going. He just wanted me to take care of his girls. He loved them a lot and didn't want to lose them, but he knew he would someday. Every father does. We parted ways, leaving the restaurant, them heading home, and the three of us headed back to the hotel. We planned on stopping by to see them and picking up Lynette's things in the morning before we headed out for home. In the hotel room, Lydia had me sit in the easy chair and pulled Lynette over to my lap. "Chuck, if you would hold her for a bit for me, I'd appreciate it. I'll be in the little girl's room for a few minutes, but then when I come out I want to have her soak with me again." Lynette smiled. I held her and rocked her for a bit. "Are you feeling better about all this now, baby?" I felt a shudder in her body as I held her. "Yes, Chuck, I am, thanks to you. It didn't seem like much, maybe not to you anyway, but just getting me to peek around the corner at my love for Lydia and admit to myself that it was me that was wrong, that made all the difference. I was angry because she didn't want me, but I'd never told her what I wanted, what I needed. It was my fault. Now she knows. If she'll have me, I'm hers. I love her so much, Chuck. I do. I'll be anything for her. Just be Lynette and be mine, sweetie. That's all you need to do. I want you to be yourself," Lydia said as she came out of the bathroom and leaned down to kiss her sister. She kissed me, then said, "Chuck, would you undress her for me, please? Send her to the tub for me. Thank you, dear." I undressed a very willing and not at all shy Lynette. Water was running into the jacuzzi tub, and watching my naked fiancé lean over the controls was affecting both Lynette and myself. Pulling a top off over her head, I exposed her bra and her middle. Her body was gorgeous, just like her sister's. Breasts large for her small frame, maybe an inch shorter than Lydia. "Turn to me, baby." She turned, and as I rested my arm on her side, I could feel her shiver again. I unsnapped the denim skirt she was wearing and lowered it to the ground. She put her hand on my shoulder and stepped out of it. I lifted her legs one at a time to get her wedgies off and her knee socks down, then looked up at her. I kissed her tummy and reached around for her bra strap, taking it off and laying it on the arm of the chair. "You are a beautiful little angel, Linny. You really are." I pulled her lace boy shorts down, kissed her right on the pad of her pubic mound, had her step out of them and tapped her arse, telling her, "Go with Lydia, honey. Go relax in the tub." Lydia was watching as we finished. She smiled at me. "Join us if you want, Chuck. I'll sit in your lap if it's too crowded." She giggled, took her sister's hand, and in they went. I went over after stripping down to my boxers, but I just sat on the edge and rubbed their backs with the bubbles. I got moans when I got down close to the smalls of their backs and even got a kiss from each of them when I went to shower before laying down. They did the bubbles again, then woke me up when they came to bed. Snuggling in, they held hands over my chest and we all went back to sleep. Morning was more eventful. Not the first time she's done it. My gorgeous and currently very amorous Lydia gave me a wonderful, exciting and draining demonstration of wake-up oral sex on my extremely hard erection. Lynette watched. I think Lynette was a bit more experienced than Lydia, as she gave a couple hints and such during the operation. Nice to know. Dressed, packed and ready, we checked out and headed to the Preston household to get some things for Lynette and say goodbye to their parents. Again, Larry took me aside and thanked me for miraculously fixing the issue. I tried to explain that I had very little to do with it, and mostly it was a matter of Lynette finding it for herself, with a little love from her sister. But in any case, it looked like everyone was happy in the outcome. The girls spent a bit more time packing. Makeup, hair accessories, all sorts of things in boxes that Larry helped me take out to the back of our SUV and get it all stuffed inside. There were hang-up bags on each clothes hook over the back doors. Lynette took up a position sitting behind me. That way, Lydia could chat with her on the way back without having to turn all the way around. In Concordia, the girls asked for a pee break, so we stopped for a pit stop, a fill-up, and a snack. A trucker made an ass out of himself in the convenience store area of the truck stop and drew my ire. It was close to another forced vomiting operation, but a store clerk confronted him before it went that far. He had them cornered, and when I demanded he leave them alone, him telling me how much fun it would be to have my girls at the same time, kinda got me going. I almost reacted poorly. In any case, they agreed they needed to keep their eyes open and we hit the road again. Once back out on the highway, Lydia spoke first. "Linny, this morning, when you said about my teeth and the rim around the top of Chuck's Peter, have you done that before? Will you be upset?" "Stop, Lynette Elaine Preston. I will not be mad at you for anything. Don't think that. I just wanted to know if you have done stuff. Chuck and I have started, but I'm very, very inexperienced, and he's never been with a girl like me before, so I was just wondering." "Yes, I have. With a couple boys and a few girls. I've done some stuff. I haven't... Lids, I'm still a virgin." She started crying again. "I was waiting for you." Lydia put her seat all the way back, reached out and pulled her sister to her in a hug. I saw Lydia there, patting her sibling's back, trying to calm her. "Baby, we're together now. You're fine. It's over. We're back together." Lydia's words made me realize our situation. If Lydia still wanted me, we were going to be together, the three of us. "Chuck, I hope you have room in your heart for her. I'm not leaving you, and I want her to stay. I love you. I love her. She needs me, I'm pretty sure." I saw in the rearview mirror as Lynette's head nodded while Lydia patted it. I nodded so that my soon-to-be wife could see me. "We're fine, baby. We're fine. We're going home, together. I love you, Linny. I love you." "I'm sorry, Lids. I'm sorry I fell apart. This has been so emotional. Thank you for taking me back." Lydia just rocked her and patted her. "Sit, Linny. Back up and sit. I'll be back in a bit." My sexy little vixen in her short pencil skirt and tights shimmied into the back seat and pulled her sister's head down into lap. The petting continued as Lydia smiled at me in the mirror and we drove home. Lynette fell asleep for the rest of the drive. Monday night started a long chain of events that turned into the future for Lydia and Lynette Preston and myself. It was all good and getting better. Never has a man been so blessed, nor will it probably ever happen again. At home on Monday night, I saw the pattern emerge. It worked for them, and I guess for me, but I was for the most part a bystanding beneficiary of its product. "Chuck, can you help us decide on dinner? Here or out, or do you have any druthers?" "I have none. Honest. I'm easy. You can call for Chinese delivery for all I care, ladies. Lynette, you have any ideas?" "Not my place, Chuck. Anything you all decide is always my choice." I smiled at her, put my arms out to her, pulled her in and kissed the top of her head. "Lynette, you live here now. You get a say if you want one." "Someday. But until she knows I'm hers, to mould into what she wants me to be, you two make the decisions." "You are impossible, you little poopy head, but I understand. I love you, sis, and we'll get where you want to be. I'm ordering Chinese. At least it was an idea. You will have some of ours, unless you have a favourite. I will allow you a favourite pick tonight if you want one. Anything. Lids. I like most Chinese, except the hot stuff, and I like egg drop soup if you guys do." "Okay, we'll share a few different ones. Charlemagne," both of the girls giggled, "likes broccoli beef, cashew chicken, my fun, the egg soup, and fried rice, so we'll eat well for a couple days. Linny, take Chuck to the shower and wash him for me, please. All over. If you cause any problems, fix them as well. Go. A whole new life begins tonight." And so it started. She did cause a problem, and she did fix it, but instead of letting it squirt on her chest, she caught it in her mouth. After she had me spick and span, I helped clean her a bit as well, which was quite a bit of fun for both of us. She dried me, asked where my boxers or PJs were, slipped some boxers and a t-shirt on me, and pulled me back out. She kissed her sister. Lydia smiled at her, then at me. "We're going to be fine. Chuck, I think I figured out the legacy problem." Ding, ding, ding. That was when the light came on. Again that night, once we had feasted and put the leftovers away for later, we made sure our schoolwork and supplies were ready. Then the girls snuggled on me, holding hands over my chest, with Lynette being first to fall asleep. "Chuck, are you okay? I hope I didn't scare you tonight. Your life will become more full, more exciting, more diverse, but you will still be my husband, and I will love you more than you will ever know. Lynette will be ours. Yours. Mine to do what I want with. I want her to be ours. She wants that. She's happy. I love you first and foremost, doll. If you are happy, truly happy, I will be. If she is happy as yours, I will either fall in love with her as well, or allow to happen whatever you two want to happen. Does that make sense?" "Yes. It would be best to allow yourself to fall in love with her. I want no question, no jealousy, no competition. I love you. She should love you. You should love us both. Naturally, there will be a hierarchy. There has to be. That's part of organisation. You are prime. I am yours. She is mine. By inference, she is yours. If I come home and find you in the shower fucking her silly, I won't be upset. That is the point I'm making. If I come home and find the neighbour in the shower sucking your Peter, there may be a different reaction, but we'll discuss that then. Doll, I don't want Mrs. Steinman. Oh, now Mrs. Wilcox on the other side of her, now that's different." She slapped my chest. "Ow!" We woke Lynette up with our laughing. "Go back to sleep, baby. Chuck's being a man. Serves you right, you corn dog. Kiss me." We shared a nice, soft, loving kiss. "Good night, Mr. Wonderful. I love you." "Good night, baby doll." Tuesday brought classes, but after mine I was able to take Lynette to the library to meet with Lydia and her boss, the head of the university's main library. She was hired as a volunteer, hours to coincide with Lydia's for now. The explanation that her star pupil would be transferring to an as yet unnamed school in the St. Louis metro met with a bit of sorrow for the loss, congratulations for the reason causing the event, and a bit of happiness that she could refer her fledgling to a friend in the St. Louis area. A tertiary-level educator imparting wisdom in the sciences involving library management and organisation. You know, a librarian teacher. My joking comment fell flat with both librarians. My soon-to-be sister-in-law almost smiled but caught herself just in time. No sense of humour around here. It might be at a private university if that was okay. Fine with me, and I let them know that. It is, however, a bit over 3 months away, so it would be best if we all got back to work, the head librarian said, finally laughing. She hugged the girls and told Lynette to shadow her sister for the day and try to have fun. She was, after all, a volunteer, and volunteering was supposed to be rewarding and enjoyable. I picked them up and was asked to take them to the dorm so Lydia could pick a few things up. She was, of course, spending more time at the house, and now with her sister living with us, I had told her to give up and move in. She was done trying to live life on her own terms when she said yes to my proposal of matrimony. She understood and caved. She'd be moving out of the dorms in May anyway. We went up, all 3 of us, and came down each with 2 arms full, and me with a couple of bags or satchels of some type strapped over my shoulders. CEO, engineer, veteran, MBA, MS ECE, PhD ECE candidate, and pack mule. I added a title, pack mule. I didn't list fiancé of a gorgeous girl, because I think that, and pack mule, might be interchangeable. The same thing happened at the store the week prior. Maybe not. That was before I put the ring on her finger. Oh well. My mind wanders. Point is, she was moving in, and giving up some of her individualism and independence in exchange for becoming my wife and her sister's mistress. Why beat around the bush? That's exactly what was happening. Weeks passed. Lydia went to school, worked in the library most afternoons with her sister at her side. Lynette was considering changing majors but hadn't pulled the trigger on that yet. She was thinking this library sciences degree was a possible thing for her, but No decision yet. She was only a freshman with 1 semester and 2 AP class credits behind her. She didn't go all out like her sister did, taking every AP course she could and forcing 2 summers already into the scheduler. At the end of the semester, Miss Lydia would be ready for starting her junior year of college. Late April, our relationship came to a milestone. I had asked my Lydia to marry me, of course, and wanted to set a date in mid-July. That would give me a month and a half or so working before I took off again, and it would give them time to plan. We'd been together about 3 months at that point, 2 with Lynette. Maybe a bit less. But in any case, I was asked by my wonderful fiancé if I needed to marry virgins. The question caught me off guard, and I scared both girls when I hugged them to me and asked them to give me a few minutes to think. I asked them to follow me to the couch in the office, and they knew when I sat and signalled it was knee-climbing time. They laced together so they could both be in my lap, facing each other and me at the same time. Lydia, I didn't know you were a virgin when I met you. We both knew we were inexperienced through our dealings with each other, but I didn't know one way or the other at the start. Lynette, when I had you out in the backyard with me, I offered you basically anything I could do to help you. I didn't know whether you were a virgin or not. What I'm telling you girls is, no, I don't have to marry a virgin. I do have to marry you, Lydia, and in effect you, Lynette, because it has come to me that you two are a package deal. Am I wrong? No, Chuck. No, sir. Okay, I need to ask why you ask. Are you telling me you want to do something before our wedding? Now? Next week? Is it with someone else you want to do it? God, no, don't think that. Sorry. I didn't mean to yell, Chuck, but no, we don't want another man in any way, at all, ever. Period. We were just wondering what it would feel like to have your Peter in us. Linny said she's seen a guy do a girl's bottom before and they liked it. They took a while and got ready, and the girl enjoyed it. We've both known girls who had their boyfriends make love to them and have their pussies full of boyfriend and they enjoyed it, so... You're curious and want me to make love to you? Yes. In stereo. Okay, I'd love to, literally. Do we get to work up to it a little? I mean, Linny has helped me in the shower and helped you out here and even sucked on it a couple times, but I would really like to show you two what I want as well. If we're ready to make love, I want to be included. Does that sound all right? Is that something you two could handle? I got a couple smiles and a couple nods. I'll start tonight. We'll start tonight. Lydia, is your pet going to get pregnant? No, Chuck. I put a pin in her. She won't blow up until we pull the pin. Sorry. Military IUD humour. I thought as a veteran and all, you would pick up on that. She has an intrauterine device that will keep your swimmers from getting to the deep end. I had it put in when she moved here. It was when we did her medical workup to make sure she was okay. I worked around IEDs, not IUDs. Sorry, it went over my head. The more I think of it, though, I should have gotten it. Pull the pin. Blow up. Okay, here's the deal. Vinegar. Safe word. If we're in the throes of passion, I have you tied up to the ceiling and I'm beating you with warm, soft spaghetti noodles and you want me to stop. Say vinegar. That is our safe word. No matter what is happening, vinegar stops everything with a kiss and a step back. Got it. With or without sauce. Lynette was about to get her first spanking. Lydia giggled. Smart ass, it doesn't matter. Vinegar stops everything. With, though, more fun to clean up after. Tummy licks with marinara. Questions? 2 head shakes. A couple of other rules, then I will let you two decide between us how this will work. Lydia, I would love to make love to you first. Linny, I will be overjoyed if you will assist with that. Absolutely, Chuck. Charlie, sir, absolutely. If I may say, Lydia, and you too, and please don't take this for anything other than I want it to, but that is my place. I desire to be that girl, that lady in waiting, if you will. I am hers to do with what she wants, and yours in the same way. Preparing her for your love will be an honour, not a task. It sounds silly coming out, but that is my mind. That is my wish. Lydia, Charlie, the little we've talked, the bit that we've gone over, I know I want to carry your children too. I really do, but I want to work with you too, so I hope we can wait a bit for that. I'd like to be able to finish my schooling and then help you both with every possible thing I can help you with, that being the most important. Did that come out okay? Perfectly. The other rule was that Lydia and I need to decide about the baby thing. You will have to concur, naturally, but we need to be sure we're ready first. Sound reasonable? Absolutely on that too, Chuck. Lydia, I love your husband. Chuck, I love your girlfriend, Lydia said. They kissed, starting the festivities. I went down on my Lydia, bringing her to an orgasm which I shared with her sister, then went down on Lynette, and once I got a good come out of her, kissed Lydia. They both, together, went down on me, cleaned up and shared the mess, then kissed me. The orgy went on for hours. Lynette prepared Lydia for me, first in the bathroom, just the two of them, then on the bed with a tube of Surgilube and KY jelly. Lydia was on her back, feet in my hands for our first time together. As Lynette pulled her fingers out, she placed my erection in, and neither of us could last. Lydia came on her stomach, and when the spasm started, I couldn't hold back and came intensely into her bowels. It was a super strong orgasm. We rested, using the experiment, and as we tried it for the umpteenth time, this time with my member in her rectum, she said, "Owned, possessed, enchanted. I'm yours, dear man, yours." Lynette put a towel behind us and rubbed, soothing us until we were ready to move. Once we were, she helped us to the shower and cleaned us both. We were tired as all get out but sat and talked for a bit. Lydia played with me just to see if she could get me back and succeeded. She then did the same for her sister that was done for her. I apologised profusely to Lydia for coming so fast when Lynette was getting so much, but they both laughed. Lydia told me, "Chuck, darling, it was the first time. Cut yourself some slack. Anyway, one of these days, Linny will be first, and you'll be in me for 20 minutes afterwards. Everything comes out in the wash." It was only 10 minutes, and I came, profusely, into her sister. In an epic move, Lydia cleaned us both up with her lips and tongue. It was quite a treat. She made her sister come again. I was beyond help at that point. We didn't have endless sexual fun and games every minute of every day from then on. We normalised. We matured. We grew together. A year after Lydia graduated and had been installed as the VP for Information Systems at Chambers, she came to me with a smiling thrall, her sister, in tow. Said thrall had just graduated from college with a degree in business management, specialising in the management of technical systems. It was a pseudo-tech degree, but instead of making computers and communication systems work, she studied making the business of making those systems work. It was quite the deal in my eyes. I had her in operations just out of school, but after 2 weeks this came up. "We want a baby," in stereo. 7 months later, the assistant VP of operations was put on maternity leave, close to bedridden by a rambunctious pair of what appeared to be identical twin girls. We took as much time as we could to be with her, making sure she had everything she needed. Lynette was a miserable thing. We were both fortunate, and not that it was the dead of winter. She was going stir-crazy, but she didn't have to deal with the heat. Proved the point that there were pros and cons to every situation.
Leslie and Laura both arrived healthy and happy, enjoying every noise each other made. Lynette had 4 months to think of things to make work a better place and wanted to implement at least a few of them. So we hired a nanny a couple months after the girls were born. Brenda was a sister of an employee in the documents section who was looking for just such a position. Live-in caretaker for the baby squad. She quickly became an integral part of our lives. Very integral.
It was midsummer. She'd been with us a few months, and we were all out by the pool. The babies loved the fresh air, and liked laying in the playpen outside under an umbrella. They were way too young to be moving around and playing, but we could tell they were happy. Lydia had told Lynette to put some oil on me when Brenda asked in a whiny, joking way. Why Lynette always got to do the fun stuff, that started some balls rolling that didn't even think about slowing down for years. The girls all laughed, and Lynette had her come over and help. I noticed an extra hug now and again. Then just before Thanksgiving, I was in the kitchen helping Brenda put something together for a meal, when she turned and kissed me in thanks. It was on the lips. Just a slow peck, but it was there. She smiled, told me, "Thank you," and said she could take it from there. Like any sane man, I immediately reported the situation to the authorities and was told not to lose any sleep over it, and that Brenda was growing very fond of me and thought she might be falling in love with me as well. Lynette was there rubbing her sister's legs and added that she's a really good kisser too, so it wouldn't be a bad thing in the long run. I was set back a bit, but knowing my girls like I did, chose not to question my sanity and roll with the punches. Thanksgiving brought the affair to light and started another chapter in the Chambers saga, one of love and devotion and a lack of monogamy. That morning, Lydia and Lynette got out of bed and told me to stay, that they were going to make me breakfast and had a surprise for me. They also told me they had planned on trying to do the turkey this year, just the two of them, with Brenda coaching, and me on call with the fire extinguisher, just in case. I was quick to call bull on that one, since they were both really good cooks and never messed up in the kitchen, except for a couple experiments that probably shouldn't have happened in the first place. I was lying there in bed watching the morning news show when Brenda came in with my breakfast. She was wearing a light blue baby doll nightie with a thong bottom, underwired lace cups, and silver high-heeled sandals. She looked much better than the wonderful omelette and toast on the plate she was holding, and ever so much more edible. "Chuck, I'd like to feed you if I may. I want to talk to you while I do, and hope if I have your plate with one of Lynette's magic omelettes, you'll stay and listen." "Brenda, I'll listen to anything you have to say. My wives love you, my babies love you, and to be honest, you've taken up a place in my heart as well." "Good. That will make my pronouncement that much easier. Bite." She fed me a couple bites, doing the same thing she does with the little ones. She opens and closes her mouth when feeding them. It's so cute. I don't think she even realizes she's doing it. "I'm falling in love with you. You are an amazing man. Show nothing but love and respect for any woman you are around, and are a fair and, from what I understand, smart business operator. I have a few friends that work for you. People I met through my brother, naturally, but friends just the same. Bite. Men and women alike, and except for a little hushed talk about nepotism, which gets squelched by people who know they aren't slouches either. I've never heard a bad word about you. Bite. In any case, I spoke to your wives and your babies," she giggled so sweetly, "and they have agreed to let me tell you this and see what happens. Share with me a bit, Brenda. Have a bite. I want to take a couple sips of my Java here, then say something myself." I took a couple sips while she was tasting the omelette and a couple nibbles of toast. "You have done the right thing because the path to my heart is through my wonderful love, Lydia. That is the centre of my universe. Will be until one of us dies. Even after, if I get my way. If you feel that strongly, and know the consequences of loving me, loving us, being part of this band of misfits," I chuckled. She giggled again. "So cute. Then I'm all for you melding yourself into our family, even more so than you are. If my daughters could talk, they'd probably opt to follow you if you leave us. One more reason for you to become one of us if you dare." She leaned forward and kissed me. "Thank you. Bite. That's all I ask. We may not fit well. I doubt it, though. I'm hopelessly enamoured by you and your wives, to be frightfully honest. I think I'll fit in fine, if you'll have me. Bite." I finished the bite, then fed her the last one. I sat up, took the plate from her and set it on the nightstand. Pulling her into my lap, letting her finish her food, I kissed the top of her head. "Lydia, Linny, can you come here when you get a break, please?" They both ran in, almost like they were waiting for me to call them. "Yes, dear," in perfect stereo. "This little wood sprite thinks she's in love with us. Did either of you know anything about this?" "Yes, dear," in perfect stereo. "Am I being set up?" "Yes, dear." This time there were 3 of them. "I love you all. Brenda, be sure. Be very certain. Lydia, have you and Brenda talked?" Yes, honey. She's known since we opened the pool. I didn't want any crazy surprises. She knows and knows to keep it here at home. It's a big deal that it stays that way, and she understands. Have you three? No, honey. There have been kisses in passing, but nothing sexual. We wanted to make sure you were okay with our loving her and her loving us. Loving you. You are our husband, first and foremost, and that could only happen with your approval. Consider yourselves as having it. It has to be multilateral, or I doubt it will work in any case. Screeches and women jumping on the bed at me were only slightly surprising, since that was a normal reaction to really good news. Brenda looked up at me and puckered for a kiss, garnering one from me, then one each from the lady of the house and her lady-in-waiting. Lydia spoke, and while I thought it might put a damper on things, it certainly didn't. Brenda, the only thing we need to remember is the hierarchy of organisation, and that is as certain as being in stone. I know, Lydia. It doesn't bother me to be third as a woman and sixth as a human in this cabal. I've never felt anything like I was an underling or being treated as less than a part of this household since I've been here. There is more love here than in any other place I've seen, including my own home. We kids thought we were well off and our parents loved each other and us. This seems, I hope I'm not dissing my parents too much, better than that. Your husband exudes positive vibes. Both of you do as well. I know where I fit. I want to fit there. I'm good. That caused another round of kissing between the girls, and I was able to enjoy some of it myself. I held Brenda in my lap, petting her and having her relax in my lap while the three of them chatted about all sorts of things, then as a group ran in to finish the turkey preparation, then all came back, assuming the positions of before, Brenda in my lap. The baby monitor went off and I had 5 girls in my bed a few minutes later. Thanksgiving was just that, as we truly did give thanks for all we had, each other, as well as our good fortune, and that evening I was asked by my spouses to make love to our newfound love, Brenda, and welcome her into our family. A touch over 2 years later she gave me a son, a little boy whose older sisters doted over for years to come. Brenda's family, while not all that happy that she was involved in a non-marriage relationship, grew over the years to tolerate us, and once when Linda and Larry were out to visit, learned through their stories of how love really can overcome any obstacle. Knowing that the 3 of those children could become anything they wanted, mostly because their parents had, helped to quell their fears of our menage. Fast forward years in the future to when Charles IV, a Purple Heart recipient, was just graduating Stanford with his MBA, and coming home to get a degree in why bits fall into buckets, and it's not the end of the world. His sisters Leslie and Laura had been helping me and their mothers hold the fort, learning the actual workings of the company, and agreeing that the namesake, the head of the company, can be named Charles, but that all 3 of them would help, just like their predecessors did. And so, it was. Leslie, the library fairy, and Laura, the technical business administrator, helped Charles, the 4th, the veteran, MBA and PhD ECE candidate, take control of Chambers Enterprises and keep on building those little electronical thingies, just like their daddy, their grandfather, and his father before him.